Headquartered in Djibouti City, the Intergovernmental Authority for Development IGAD is an 8-country regional bloc that includes governments from the Horn of Africa, the Nile Valley, and the African Great Lakes. This 4-day Entebbe meeting brought together legal and policy experts, highest representations from member states, and the Committee of Ambassadors. They were meeting to endorse the IGAD Protocol on Transhumance after reviewing and adopting the reports, including the roadmap for its anticipated implementation. But this journey began with the convergence of the semi-arid rangelands and real wealth that lies underneath these fortified traversing hoofs. Transhumance is the practice of moving livestock from one grazing ground to another in seasonal cycles. Typically, they navigate to lowlands during cold seasons and back to higher lands in hot weather. Their simple prayer each day, if only for water and pasture. Mile upon mile, rejections, restrictions, and sometimes even bitter conflict are the order of the day. Yet, our brethren born in this reality could formidably turn our close affiliated fortunes around to propel this great continent into the first world. This was definitely worth much closer consideration and a regional awakening.
The member states felt that they needed an institution like us. So they established ICPAL on July 11th, 2012. At the 45th ordinary session of the IGAD Council of Ministers. And we've since then done quite a bit. One is first of all to generate evidence. Of all the years that our countries have been independent, the allocation to the livestock sector has been minimal. Because whenever the resources were being shared at what we call a national table, every sector is asked, what are you bringing onto the table? So livestock was seen as a taker from this national cake, not a contributor. So we had to generate evidence to show that livestock is an important sector. When we finished that study, those series of studies about 4 years ago, countries were surprised that they had underestimated the value of contribution of livestock to GDP by up to 45%.
ICPAL, which is the Center for Pastoral Areas and Livestock Development, has been spearheading the negotiation process of the Transhumance Protocol. It is a specialized technical institution mandated to work with the state parties appended to this protocol. The Transhumance Protocol aims to provide a framework that will establish transhumance corridors in the region for the facilitation of free, safe and orderly cross-border pastoralist movements.
The population of Somalia, half of the population are pastoral and agri-pastoral. So this journey is vital for us because most of the people, they depend on livestock. And we have a lot of pastoralists across the country, and even when it comes to the borders, the borderline villages, districts, most of them, they are pastoralists. So this journey is special important for our people, especially our pastoralists who are moving towards and across the region.
Though most of this region suffers from severe effects of climate variability and recurrent droughts, The highly celebrated protocol marks a major milestone after a 3-year process seeking to harmonize the free movement of transhumans.
This transhumance protocol will give room to free movement of livestock in the region without hindrances. Because one thing you should know, even without the formalities, the transhumance is already there. So this is to regulate, to facilitate, and to bring services closer to the pastoralists, because they are one of us. They are amongst us. They are our brothers. They are our sisters, and this contributes to their livelihood.
Pastoral cattle farming has had far-reaching implications on many economies beyond Africa, with threats that basically range from animal and human disease transference to inter-border insecurity and environmental degradation, just to mention a few.
They are perceived as people who are doing a backward kind of a venture. And so within those dilemmas, pastoralists are marginalized. Everywhere I go, I see them having that sense of feeling of marginalization. Like people who do not have a right to water, they are struggling to access water. People are struggling to access even pasture, access the simplest services, including health. And therefore, most people, even the traders, the commercial traders who are buying livestock from pastoralists, they buy them at very poor prices, and they bring and sell them at very lucrative prices, at probably double the price or even 3 times higher. And informed by this, I think we have a challenge to make the lives of pastoralists better.
But the pastoralists that live along the border regions of Kenya, South Sudan and Uganda largely depend on migrating with their sizable herds in search of water and pasture. Most countries are tirelessly on the lookout for successive pandemics to have proper certification of visiting pastoralists and improved management of their own domestic herds.
We are in the localities outside Khartoum, far away. We used to move vaccination teams and information teams with our nomads. We continuously move with them, so they know what is going, and they are waiting for the results of this because sometimes they suffer a lot in these neighboring countries where there is no protocol. They may charge a lot of money. You have to pay. You have to be prevented not to enter. So a lot of this protocol will solve all their problems they have.
Pastoralists, when they move, they shouldn't move with arms into neighboring states. And I think over time, when the policing situation within the pastoralist areas is strengthened, then there will be no need for arms by pastoralists. But the way the situation is at the moment, right at the border, that's why there's a presence of those arms. But over time, if this protocol is implemented, the need for arms by pastoral groups will be eliminated completely. And that is provided for in the protocol.
Now, the obvious economic burden that transhumance brings often hangs in the balance, where gross domestic production may clash with the willingness to stay true to political expediency.
The biggest benefit is, it will help to improve the lives of our pastoralists. They will have a peaceful interaction. We will not have, conflicts among these pastoralists. If the interaction is regulated and assisted by government, by local administrators, these pastoralists will have, smooth interaction with the local communities and among themselves, and this will ensure peace and stability, and also ensures access to grazing and water, which ultimately improves the life of our communities.
The development of livestock, when they need to be taken to different territories for grazing and even for water, is important for South Sudan, and it will help the new nations in the areas of developing the livestock and the cattle management.
Le processus de ce protocole, déjà, c'est de mettre tous les pays de l'IGAD qui sont concernés dans un même contexte. Pourquoi on met? C'est pour faciliter, le protocole facilite les transhumances. C'est faciliter la vie de l'éleveur dans ce corridor de transhumance. C'est mettre au point. Chaque pays va trouver son bénéfice, chaque pays. C'est-à-dire de contrôler et de voir la perte, la sécurité, il gagne de tous les côtés. D'avoir des éleveurs qui amènent leurs cheptels malades vers l'Éthiopie, ce n'est pas bénéfique. Mais si la transhumance fait son corridor, la corridor va contrôler tout cet espace.
Given C1's history as one of the agencies of IGAD which had very strong proximity with cross-border and pastoral issues, we were supportive of this protocol from the get-go. So we've been part of probably all of the engagements that ICPAL facilitated with member states and other partners. So we'd like to think that we have helped enrich the document to reach where it is now.
This protocol, put simply, is the agreed position by all member states to facilitate free movement of animals together with their herders, guaranteeing and certifying their right to service delivery across borders.
South Sudan, when it comes to transhumance, will benefit because we need our animals to be healthy, we need livestock to be healthy. If there is any issue that would affect them and we could find a solution at the neighboring country, they can go there. Okay? And at the same time, if there are issues that can affect our neighbors, they come to us, but in a regulated way. This is why the protocol purpose is to provide safe and orderly cross-border to avoid other conflicts or issues.
IGAD's Center for Pastoral Areas and Livestock Development has undertaken the responsibility of its mandate to draft the protocol and prepare the roadmap to address all the issues from the detailed research and reports on transhumance. The Greater Horn of Africa member states under IGAD have adopted this collective philosophy to harmonize their national policies into one legal framework that has culminated into the ICPAL Protocol for Transhumance. The promotion of effective resilience and good practice shall reap the benefits of future transhumance development. Many of the projects that are already being executed within this framework are beginning to show tangible evidence of success in building resilience and improving the livelihood of drought-prone communities. The results achieved to date are clear evidence of the commitment and collective efforts of member states, development partners, and humanitarian actors to the goal of ending drought emergencies in the region.
Et moi, je crois en ce genre d'échange. Je crois qu'en mettant en commun nos forces, c'est de cette manière que nous pouvons résoudre nos problèmes. Et c'est très important. On ne peut pas, quelle que soit sa compétence, seul on ne peut pas résoudre tous les problèmes. Il faut regarder à gauche, à droite, les expériences pour ne pas répéter les erreurs que d'autres ont commises. Si moi j'ai commis une erreur, je vais partager avec vous et puis vous dire ne commettez pas cette erreur parce que ça ne sert à rien, ça ne va pas marcher. Et donc c'est quelque chose de très très fort et j'espère que nos deux régions vont continuer à travailler ensemble sur des questions de développement parce que, encore une fois, j'ai dit, le Sahel dont on parle, il commence du Cap-Vert à Djibouti. C'est juste un découpage qu'on a fait pour dire que vous êtes dans l'IGAD, vous êtes dans le Sahel, mais la réalité sahélienne, elle est continue, elle est la même part.
Now this will be the game changer. When there's policies that are supportive of investments in the pastoral areas, then the private sector will come and invest in those slaughter facilities. For example, why do you have to move animals from Mandera, from Garissa, from Marsabit, from Turkana into Nairobi to be slaughtered? This is the 21st century. That doesn't need to happen. Those animals could be slaughtered in those areas. You put the meat in reefers and it's delivered now they are tarmac roads. Excuse me, by morning, those animals will be in Nairobi, the meat will be in Nairobi. And you can have a meat trading floor. Okay? The fish is landed in Kisumu and is sold in Nairobi. Hey. So the private sector can do that, but we need the government to come up with supportive policies and legal frameworks to enable me to take the risk of investing as a private entity.
The process has been a long journey. We engaged into a consultative process which involved other stakeholders from pastoralists, and therefore we've come up with a protocol as member states of IGAD, which takes care of the voices of the pastoralists. We are grateful. I want to say that I'm very grateful for the support that we have gotten from the different partners, especially the support from the EU through the EUTF fund, which has come quite very handy into supporting the consultations within the 3 years from 2017 up to now 2019. I should also thank all the partners, the member states in particular. This is their protocol. They have done a lot of justice to it. They have given a technical inputs on it. They have reviewed, revised, and agreed upon during several negotiation meetings. We appreciate all the member states.
This program was funded by the European Union's Emergency Trust Fund, EUTF, and all the efforts are being geared towards having the protocol adopted before the end of 2019.